It is time for another edition of the Fight HQ podcast. I am Jason Floyd, of course, joined always by the fighter, Pete Rogers Jr. here to break down UFC Vegas 110 goes down tomorrow inside the UFC Apex. All you got to do is look at tomorrow's card, next week's card, and you know exactly where the fight card's coming from, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, some exciting matchups, but I mean, you definitely can tell where the fights are taking place. Some pivotal matchups, some exciting just bangers, if you will. But this doesn't seem like a true UFC quality card. But sometimes these cards surprise us. So let's give it a shot, and hopefully they prove us right that they are going to put on a show come Saturday.
You mean you talk about Elisa Ardelean being the biggest favorite in the card? That should tell you something.
Yeah, I mean, A, state of women's MMA, B, state of her opponent, and also it's just like, yeah, I mean, it is a little odd. And, we definitely have some wide guy, like, you got Johnson on there, you got Ardelean, you got Nascimento. I mean, outside of that, it's just some ugly odds.
And a weird slate when you think about it, the fact of we have two fighters who are priced at 9,100. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Of course, part of that is due to the fact that Allan Nascimento getting a new opponent a week ago. Cody Durden, prior to getting this matchup was on social media, basically saying, I'm ready to take a fight. So he now gets this matchup. So we're going to break this one down for you here. Of course, if you got any questions, be sure to line those right up in the chat, or you could do it right in our Discord channel. Of course, the link to that Discord channel is in the description of this show. Also, in the description of the show is a link to Pete's Patreon page. If you want to get access to all of Pete's tools that he has. Pete, let everyone know about what you got coming up this week.
Yeah, so I will have the Patreon up later tonight. Last week was chaotic. This week's still chaotic, but I'll be able to have it up tonight. And on that we have the data projections, which from the data system, it spits out a projection for their median outcome. In addition to that, the pace of the fighter, which is something that I actually been, constructing lineups with and kind of just thinking and using as a tool for my sports betting as well. Then the pace of the fight, sometimes a slow pace fight. If you're looking at a wide odd for it to go the distance, sometimes it's like, all right, well, I don't mind taking a stab at that. And high paced fights tend to lead to finishes. So, and then I got strength of schedule on there, and I've got a little bit of everything for strike and volume, strike and ratio, strike and differential, all that good stuff to help you, whether you're doing props, whether you're doing prize picks, sports betting, just kind of, method of victories, like any types of betting and DFS. It's definitely a helpful tool.
I will tell you, when we talk about this fight card, I do have one concern. And it's a concern whether we're talking about building our lineups on DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks. Maybe you're making a wager on your favorite sports book, or maybe you're just rooting for a certain fighter. We know this is a overreaction sport.
Yep.
I feel like I'm going to roster somebody, and it's going to be someone early in the card. They're going to do an unintentional eye poke, and they're going to be penalized a point.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm cool with it. I mean, but
I said this yesterday on my podcast. I think that if you want to, as a regulator, and I think the UFC is a prime example to this, if you sat there and said, it doesn't matter the type of eye poke, we can go to instant replay, but right now, eye pokes, automatic 1 point deduction. You want to see fighters like Cyril Gane stop sticking their fingers out like they're looking for put their fingers in a bowling ball?
Yeah.
That would be it would be a harsh penalty, but it would not shock me if we are very close to that being a reality.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for even saying that, because sometimes, like, you'll see officials want to make a statement, or they want to go out there and they really want to kind of set like the guidelines of what they're going to allow, what they're not going to allow. And, the only thing, right, is if we do start to enforce a point deduction per foul, then you're going to have the small percentage of people trying to complain and trying to persuade judges that a foul occurred so that they can get that point deducted from their opponent, which then it doesn't even turn into fighting anymore. It turns into, like, you know what I mean? Just really acting towards getting a point deduction from your opponent. So, but I think that's like the small negative about it. Outside of that, I mean, let the referee use their discretion. But I mean, how many warnings? Yeah, I mean, you could literally knee somebody in the balls, kick them in the balls, grab the cage, poke them in the eyes a couple times, and that can all happen within one round. And I probably just got a stern talking to.
There's times, and you've seen it, I've seen it, people who are watching us, listening to us, they've seen it, where a fighter can grab the fence 3, 4, and it's maybe not till the 5th time. Now, last week was a different story. Maxim, kudos that referee, a blatant fence grab. And a fence grab.
Name?
What's that?
What was that guy's name? Mitch something?
I forget his name. He's a Europe.
I liked how he did that, though.
Yeah, but it allowed him to get an advantageous position, and kudos to referee for saying, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm not letting you get that position. You're standing up, and go there. By the way, if people did not see last night, I did watch Dirty Boxing 4. Gable Stevenson, you want to talk about making a statement to say you're maybe potentially ready for a big show? He may be trying to rush to get to the UFC. But he made a massive statement. I'm still the rules of dirty boxing are kind of weird to me.
I don't get it either. I mean,
I'm watching
I didn't know they can ground and pound. I thought that was illegal. But.
The Brian Battle fight knocks the guy down, and I'm first time I've ever watched this. Okay, so I'm just thinking it's boxing. And then the dude's down, and he's throwing punches, and I don't think his opponent knew the rules.
Yeah, well, you're an idiot. You need to know the rules. But yeah, one of my fighters was explaining. He's like, dude, I would do that. He's like, it's punches with elbows, no kicks at all, no grabbing or holding on or clinching, because they like will deduct the point immediately. But you can do follow up ground and pound. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Just a different dynamic. And I think the official's name was Rich Mitchell or Mitch. Yeah, it's got to be Rich Mitchell. That sounds very familiar.
It's different. I mean, it's a different thing. I mean, they're trying to do some different things. I mean, you got 45-year-old Francisco Trinaldo there. I mean, it's basically a bunch of MMA fighters. I mean, that's about. There was a boxer, MMA fighter. It did not last long. I mean, dude's toying with him before he KOs him. I mean, it just.
A boxer toyed with a guy?
Oh yeah. Like you could have the volume off, know nothing about either one of them. You go, yep, that's the boxer. That's the MMA fighter. Because the MMA fighter almost was trying to go for takedowns.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I think that MMA fighters just trying to stay active within any realm of martial arts is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Grappling, I think, is the next best thing. Doing a specific sport like a dirty boxing or kickboxing, karate combat, or something like that. I think that's kind of like third on the list. It's definitely still going to keep you active. Bare knuckle, I guess it's better than nothing, but I don't like combining the bare knuckle with a current MMA career just because of the scar tissue. It's much better than them getting into the slap fighting. So it's a nice pivot from slap fighting. So I will give dirty boxing at least some acknowledgement.
So you're telling me right now you are not watching Power Slap that is going on live?
Is it on right now?
Oh yeah, it's on right now. It's on the Power Slap YouTube channel.
How many times you watch this show? You watch it? You really do?
I've watched it a couple times. Look, it is, to me, it's something that you gotta, I've always thought bare knuckle box, to do bare knuckle boxing, you got, you gotta be a little crazy. I think it's another level of craziness to say I'm doing Power Slap.
I just think it's stupid. And I mean, there's in a fight, right? Like you could be so good, like you limit your damage and you limit getting hit. There's no limiting, I don't think, in slap fighting unless like you slap them and smoke them in the first time.
It's called win the coin toss and knock him out in the first slap.
Yeah. Hit
I,
him with your wrist. That's what these
yeah.
guys do.
Yeah, it's nuts, but it is, and I can just tell you this: being in the bar industry, you actually be surprised how many people are actually really. I mean, look, you're going to see people get knocked out, and but I think primarily power slap is something that does really well on social media, and it definitely caters to an audience. I don't know how much that audience is necessarily going to be sitting in front of their television set tomorrow at 4:00 for UFC Vegas 110. Of course, we got two fighters in the main event. That'll be the first time they have a main event in the UFC. And when we talk about game theory from a DFS perspective, I think it's really hard for me to avoid the main event just because of the price point. Co-main event almost kind of in a way, even though I could see it being low scoring, especially if it's a Cortes-Acosta victory here. But then I look up and down this fight card, Pete. I look at someone like a Jeremiah Wells, essentially has not competed in 2 years. And, it's kind of crazy. And we'll talk a lot of this when we get this fight. If I was said there's only a 5-year age gap between Themba Gorimbo and Jeremiah Wells, how many people would believe me when I say that?
Yeah. No, I know. It is crazy. Getting into the UFC a little late for both of them within their careers. But I think Wells looks older, but he's a shredded 39 or whatever the hell he is. He's a monster.
He turned 39 yesterday.
Yeah. He's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of things about this card that I sit there and you mentioned a name earlier on the show, Donte Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Going down to middleweight for the first time in his career now. He's fought at light heavyweight, and I mean, not a big heavyweight. I mean, I think maybe 219 pounds was his highest weigh in at heavyweight. For the most part, I mean, just because, he hasn't had a lot of fights, low level competition. We haven't seen him outside of the first round. I mean, I'm not a Sedriques Dumas guy at all. But I'm just what if Dumas gets him to the second round? No idea what he looks like, there's, look, you look at the female matchups on this card. I mean, the reality is you look at those 3 fights, I think we could probably say 80% chance all of them go to the decision, if not higher.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you really wanted to make some money, look, Ketlen, Vieira, Norma, Dumont, they're decision machines in the UFC. Maybe you would take a shot on Ardelean, maybe thinking she could get a win by finish just because of the game of Ruiz. I do, I know we can talk about the first fight of the night. I do not want to roster Carnelossi at all.
I could make a case, but okay.
If you had too much Halloween candy over there?
No, I'm just saying her takedown defense is terrible, but she is going up against a jiu-jitsu competitor. It's not like she's going up against a D1 wrestler, So we'll talk about that when we get there. But physicality in women's MMA is a big, big thing too. And when a girl is shredded and so strong, sometimes you're able to defend takedowns a little better. But yeah.
Here's what I would like to know from our community. Give me a core 3 on DraftKings that doesn't involve the main event.
Yeah, it's hard.
And how many different combinations would you have? I think that I haven't looked at ownership yet, but I'm sure Garcia and Onama have crazy ownership. But after that, I sit there and I just think about okay, who am I getting to? Allan Nascimento, I think, could be an interesting DraftKings play.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Durden has the wrestling, I look at Nascimento, particularly what he has done outside the UFC in terms of his submission game. But then there's so many Elekana at 8,900. Do I trust him at that price tag? It's just I think it could be very easy to get different this week, but some of those line combinations come up with, I don't know how much I'm really going to like them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'll tell you my favorite fighter on the entire card. Well, I have 2. One, Isaac Dulgarian. I think Dulgarian's so damn good. Um, his wrestling is freaking unbelievable, and we've seen how he's cut through the regional scene. We also saw his
Mhm.
cardio kind of be in question in the past. And then the one fighter that I really have circled that surprised the hell out of me was the fighter in what's his full name? His full name is Sukyun Ko, who
Mhm.
fought Oban Elliott previously and made Oban Elliott, who's been a massive favorite, look like a massive, massive underdog
Yeah.
and really schooled him. So I'm very, very impressed with what Suk Young Ko did against Oban Elliott and looking to see if he's able to carry that forward against Phil Rowe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people want to bet Oban Elliott going forward after what you saw
Oh, I
there.
know.
But also I do think there's some underdogs in this card that do kind of stick out to me. But let's get right into breaking this one down. Of course, the main event is a featherweight matchup between David Onama and Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia comes in here as a slight favorite here. He's priced at $8,300 on DK, $18 on FanDuel, minus 135 on the betting lines. Onama priced at $7,900 on DK, $15 on FanDuel. He is at plus 110. This is the first main event for both of these fighters. Steve Garcia has been scheduled for 5 rounds on the regional scene. That was back in 2018 for the regional show run by Jackson Wink. Garcia, 7-2 in the UFC. 6 of his 7 wins have come by TKO, and KO. He does have a 6-fight winning streak coming off a decision win against Calvin Kattar, which is the most notable victory in his career to this point. Onama, this is the first time he has been scheduled for 5 rounds. He's 6-2 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight by a decision. He's gone the distance in 5 of his 8 UFC fights. When you look at the strikes landed per minute, they're pretty similar. The strikes absorbed per minute is one thing that does stick out to you, Pete. The fact that Garcia is only at 2.2 while Onama at 4.73. One of my questions that I've really been debating on the past 2 or 3 days on this fight, Pete, I don't know if you've been debating this as well either. Who do we trust cardio more?
Yeah, I don't know. I tell you, it's really tough, right? Um, and admittedly, I've struggled picking Steve Garcia fights. Like Jason, I bet you if you look at my track record, I probably bet against Steve Garcia almost every fight, or at least for the most part. This is a guy that really has surprised me, and I'm wrong a lot, and I can admittedly say that I was so wrong on Steve Garcia because I remember him competing at bantamweight a very long time ago, and just seeing a regional fighter have a very, very competitive fight with him a very long time ago. And I thought that Steve Garcia lost that. And I almost wonder if I've been a little biased towards him because of that performance. And he's really developed. And I don't think that I've given him the correct flowers when it comes to his development. And he's turned into not only a killing machine in round 1, knocking people out with devastating power, but he's also turned into a pretty technical fighter, one that has a variety of striking attacks, one that, you know, is a big southpaw for the division, standing at 6 feet with 75 inches in reach. He's able to snipe people from the outside, utilizing good Muay Thai, good kicks, good knees, good elbows, big left hand, big power. And his weakness early on in his career was his takedown defense. It seems like he's patched that up to a point where he's forcing people to engage with him. And even in a matchup against Calvin Kattar, or the shell of Calvin Kattar, if you will, a fighter that all of New England, including myself, is a big fan of. I figured Kattar's technical boxing was going to be able to get it done. But, I mean, Kattar seemed to be stuck in first gear the entire fight. And credit to Steve Garcia for just giving every opponent problems and issues. I will tell you that he does train at elevation, and he's been a long time stable of Jackson Wink. So, that training at altitude, he should be able to go 25 minutes, no problem at all. I know that David Onama has I'm not sure. I haven't even looked at the socials. I'm not sure where David Onama is at the moment. But, he's also cross-trained at elevation in the past. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd give an edge per se, but I feel like they're both able to go 25 minutes. And I do like the fact that Steve Garcia doesn't absorb as many strikes as David Onama. I do worry about Garcia crumpling to a big power shot from Onama and it looking relatively easy, because I've seen both of these guys rocked and hurt and knocked down. And it seems to me like Onama gets hurt a little bit more frequent than Steve Garcia, but he's able to come back and really just work his way back into a fight. Whereas when Steve Garcia has been hurt, he's been finished. So it's really like a pick 'em to me. I think that the odds are correct. I would give a slight advantage to the big southpaw, who's on an absolute heater, who, lands 5.18 significant strikes landed per minute, absorbs 2.2, versus David Onama's 5.24 significant strikes landed per minute, absorbing 4.73. So, the striking ratio is 2.35 for Garcia and 1.1 for Onama. And the striking differential is 2.98 for Garcia, whereas it is 0.51 for Onama. So long-winded way of me saying it's a slight lean towards Steve Garcia, but it's one that I'm not confident in. Like, I've been picking against this guy all the time. And the one strategic way that I would coach against Steve Garcia is you got to put him on his back. We've seen him get out wrestled in the past, and I think Onama has the wrestling to do so. I just don't know if he really goes to that well as often as he should. So I'll pick Steve Garcia, but man, it's not a confident pick at all. I would really be like 55-45 with my split on this fight.
When you talk about David Onama, of course, was with James Krause at the start of his career. Then, of course, we all know what happened with James Krause. He's in Colorado, trains at Factory X Muay Thai. Been there for probably about the past 2 years or so. And, one of the things, and looking at from the betting side of the equation, over 2.5 rounds plus 150. Maybe one of my favorite plays this week on the betting side.
Over 2.5?
Over 2.5 rounds plus 150.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
I would also say this: if you want to throw a little sprinkle, I don't mind throwing a sprinkle on either one of these fighters to win via decision. At least on my book, they're plus 1,100 to win via decision. Yeah, it's so
hard for me to see. It's going 25 minutes though.
But as I said, I don't know whose cardio I trust. I would be on, because of what we've seen in the UFC. We haven't seen it, but I think I would trust Garcia's cardio more than I would trust Onama's.
That's where I'm at too.
And that's why I think for me, in terms of a fight pick, it's a lean to Steve Garcia. But from a DFS perspective, I do think this is a tough fight to avoid because of the price point, particularly on DraftKings for either one of them. I mean, if you look at Onama, if Onama goes in there with the mindset of, let's try to get some grappling in here, get takedowns, mix our striking, God, I mean, it's hard. I mean, Garcia, the only thing that would concern you about Garcia is what happens if it's not a high volume fight.
Yeah.
But like, to me,
I don't see how this isn't optimal at the price tag. I really don't.
But for me, it's a very slight lean in terms of Steve Garcia here. But big matchup for both these guys to potentially crack into the top 10 here in the 145-pound division. Next up, we got a heavyweight matchup. We got Waldo Cortes-Acosta taking on Ante Delija. Delija, coming in here is interesting when you look at the betting lines in comparison to the DraftKings line in comparison to the FanDuel line. So when I did my sheet yesterday, Cortes-Acosta was at plus 115 as a betting line. He's priced at 8,200 on DK, $14 on FanDuel. Delija, He's a minus 140 betting favorite, which the money has been coming in on him. He's priced at 8,000 on DK, $15 on FanDuel, and a somewhat quick turnaround for both of these fighters in this matchup, Pete. 70 days for Cortes-Acosta since his decision loss against Sergey Pavlovich, and for Delija, a 56-day turnaround following his UFC debut, which was a win against Marcin Tybura. For Cortes-Acosta, he could potentially... He could fall into the position of, yes, you're getting wins, but you may find yourself out of the UFC because of the fighting style. 7-2 in the UFC, but 5 of those 7 UFC fights, 5 of 7 fights have gone the distance. Delija, obviously the dialogue with him is the fact that he is a training partner with Tom Aspinall. Last week, Tom Aspinall made it known that if he got to a point where his training partner was in line for a title shot, he would vacate the title. Delija come out and said, hey, I would not fight there. When you look at the strikes landed per minute, you can't take Delija's too seriously because it's only one UFC fight, but I was kind of surprised to see how much Cortes-Acosta lands per minute, which is 5.61, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're very similar. They are very similar. Both good boxers, both have really good hands. Waldo Cortes-Acosta, the reason his strikes sit at 5.61 significant strikes landed per minute is because he utilizes a jab, which is completely an underutilized weapon within MMA. And Waldo Cortes-Acosta really has good boxing. So a lot of times he's able to pitter-patter people at range. He will throw some leg kicks if he needs to, but predominantly a boxer. And, Ante Delija is a guy that I've been a big fan of while he's been in PFL and when he broke over to the UFC. Like when I follow somebody outside the UFC and I know who they are and I've won money on them in the past, it's much easier for me to get behind them and to have some conviction in certain matchups. And that's why I can confidently say that I'm going to be backing Ante Delija here. Because if you're looking at the statistics on UFC stats, you can see that compared to Waldo Cortes-Acosta's 5.61 significant strikes landed per minute, you have Ante Delija at 6.34. Granted, that is a very, very small sample size in one fight against Marcin Tybura for Ante Delija. But what I will tell you is that Ante Delija is not just a boxer. He has like all the wrestling and grappling in his back pocket to use if he needs to. Like he really, really can go to the takedown well. He can ground and pound you. He can submit you. He's got a very, very heavy top pressure, and honestly, one of my favorite heavyweights in the game right now. So, I mean, like this is a situation where it's like we're early because according to UFC stats, you aren't expecting him to shoot any takedowns. I mean, he has 0 takedowns landed per 15 minutes according to UFC stats because of the Tybura fight. I can tell you right now, if he starts to struggle in the boxing department with Waldo Cortes-Acosta, which he might, like he may not find a quick finish. He could go out there and throw a big combination and end up knocking out Waldo. But let's say he doesn't. I think the next step in his game is, okay, I'm going to punch into a clinch, into a takedown attempt. Oh, wow, I got that takedown. Now I'm going to utilize heavy ground and pound. Waldo gets back to his feet, rinse and repeat, just keeps taking him down, working him over 15 minutes, or finds a finish one way or another. So, I mean, this is a situation where for me, like I'm going to be circling the takedown props on the fighter props page on DraftKings Sportsbook for Ante Delija, just in case he decides to go to the takedown well. I'll pull it up right now and I'll actually see if they have it available, but it's a little early for that. But yeah, I mean, I like Ante Delija here. And like I said, I feel early. I love it when I'm early on a line or like early when I see certain matchups. And yeah, they currently have Ante Delija total takedowns over 0.5 at minus 115. They haven't posted the other one, so they're expecting just a heavyweight like slugfest. And I'm not so sure that that's what's going to happen. If it happens that way, cool. Delia's got the boxing to compete, hurt, and knock out Waldo. Waldo has the boxing to hurt Ante Delija. So for me, from a coaching aspect, it's all right. Let's establish our jab. Let's go out there. Let's try to hurt this guy. If you feel uncomfortable, we're going to use those combinations to clinch with them. See how strong you feel in that clinch. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to work towards getting underhooks, dropping down, trying to take him down. And this is a situation where you can ladder up the takedown bets and it can result in a big payout if he does decide to lace up his wrestling shoes.
Yeah, I mean the 8,000 price tag is what really stuck
Yeah.
out to me this week. I've never been a big Waldo guy, just because of his fighting style. One of the things I do like on the Hard Rock app, they have these bets: wins round 1 or round 2. Delija plus 260 to win round 1 or round 2. But even the decision props aren't bad. Plus 325 for him, plus 300 for Cortes-Acosta. But the price tag does kind of stick out to me. But for me, I think I would rather, my pick is Delija, but I would rather roster him than roster Cortes-Acosta. Next up, we got a welterweight matchup. It is Jeremiah Wells taking on Themba Gorimbo. Jeremiah Wells, he's priced at $7,800 DK, $12 on FanDuel. Slight betting underdog here, plus 110. Themba Gorimbo priced at $8,400 on DK, $16 on FanDuel. He is at minus 135, and this is the first time we see Jeremiah Wells in 20 months. The last time, he's lost back-to-back fights, losing to Carlston Harris, which was a third-round submission, and most recently a split decision loss against Max Griffin. It has been 11 months since we've seen Themba Gorimbo, which was that first-round submission loss against Vicente Luque. 4-2 in the UFC. 3 wins have come via decision, and both UFC losses have come via submission. He does have a 3-inch reach advantage in this one, and the stat that really stuck out to me was the takedowns average per 15 minutes. Pete Wells, 3.08. Gorimbo, 4.81.
Yeah, I mean, the 4.81 with 65% takedown accuracy means he's attempting 7.4 takedowns per 15 minutes in a 15-minute fight. Naturally I see that and I'm like, all right, well, he has 65% takedown accuracy, so at a high clip he's getting takedowns. I'm not so sure that Themba Gorimbo is good. Like, I just still have question marks. I mean, I understand that he beat Nico Price. I thought that was a smash spot. He did take him down 7 times. He did have a ton of control time, but like 9 minutes of control time. But I don't know. I thought that was a situation where it could have been like a breakout performance of getting a finish. And we've seen him take down Ramiz Brahimaj, who's been on an absolute heater. He knocked down Pete Rodriguez with like a really ugly overhand. He beat Takashi Sato. I just have concerns about Themba Gorimbo. I really do. I got to tell you. I mean, I don't know what his training style or who he trains with. What's his training room like? I know Jeremiah Wells is training at Marquez BJJ, Marquez MMA in Philly, and I know that's a hard room. I got to tell you. I mean, they're both coming off of layoffs. I understand Wells is the elder in this matchup, but if this is a kickboxing matchup, at any point Wells touches Themba Gorimbo's chin, it's over. It's curtains. And that's kind of what I'm like worried about in order to be backing Themba Gorimbo, is like on the feet, he has to be perfect. He can still hurt and rock Jeremiah Wells. We've seen Jeremiah Wells get rocked in the past. But that's from Matthew Semmelsberger. And I think Semmelsberger has very, very slept on power. And if you've been around the game, you know that Semmelsberger at one point was just knocking out everybody. Themba Gorimbo, I don't think has that in his bag. If he does knock out Jeremiah Wells, I'd be very, very shocked. He's much more likely to chain wrestle and go after takedowns relentlessly. And this is a situation where, like, people don't know that Jeremiah Wells is a good grappler. He's a good wrestler in his own right. He's usually the guy dictating the wrestling because he's so strong. He was doing fine against Carlston Harris, and then until he got submitted. I don't think Themba has that like submission ability to finish Jeremiah Wells. And at any point, I think Jeremiah Wells is live to finish the fight. So given the odds, I mean, I'm okay with DFS getting to both sides. I reckon that people may be a little hesitant about Jeremiah Wells' age, but I'm going to go with his training room. I'm going to go with his team, and I'm going to back the guy that's in a better environment in order to prepare for battle. So give me Jeremiah Wells here as a slight underdog to either knock out or hurt Themba Gorimbo throughout the fight and end up winning the fight. So this is a situation where I feel like we need this fight. It seems like a very, very important fight for the card.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think that Wells will swing a hammer and end up getting a knockout over Themba Gorimbo. But like I said, it's one where I think DFS production is going to be plentiful.
I think the value on Jeremiah Wells on FanDuel was a great value this week at only $12. I mean, that is a line that really sticks out to me there. If you look at the betting side, Wells inside the distance plus 250, 190 for Themba Gorimbo. You look at the decision props plus 375 for Wells, plus 300 for Themba Guerrero. Next up, we have got a featherweight matchup. Dulgarian taking on Yadier. Yadier made his UFC debut back in May, which was a win against Connors Matthews. That was a first-round submission. Prior to entering the UFC, majority of his regional level fights were in Fury FC, which is a promotion I've talked about. One of the regional promotions that I really like, just the way they matchmake fighters. For Dulgarian, the first fight for him in nearly 14 months, which was a second-round submission against Brandon Marat. He's 2-1 in the UFC. His other UFC win coming against Francis Marshall. His lone loss in the UFC coming against Christian Rodriguez, which was a split decision. Kind of hard to look at Yadier's stats just because of only one UFC fight. Dulgarian is a guy that it's kind of interesting, just kind of some issues that were out of his control. And how he got into the UFC, had to kind of go through some situations with how he got in the UFC. But this is a guy I remember when he was kind of coming up that Midwest scene, and you kind of touched on this a little bit. There's a lot of people that were really high on this kid.
I mean, I still am high on him. I think that he's damn good. I really do. I think that he's very, very good. I don't hold the Christian Rodriguez fight against him at all. I mean, I saw what he did to Francis Marshall, saw what he did to Brandon Marat. And even what he did to Christian Rodriguez in that fight. I think that his wrestling is absolutely legit. His power is legit. The only question mark is his cardio, but I think it's going up against Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez was able to keep that pace and reverse and get back to his feet and tax Isaac Dulgarian. In a situation here against Yadier Del Valle, I think Del Valle is good, but I think that he has some things about his game that could lead to him being on bottom a little far too often. For one, he will attempt guillotines frequently. And, I just don't like that when you're going up against a very, very good wrestler. If you don't get it, now you are underneath them and under their grasp and control for the remaining round. And I will tell you that Dulgarian has good power, good ground and pound, good submission skills. I would love to see him start to, showcase the finishing ability that he had on the regional scene. And this is one where, I think the price tag associated with Dulgarian, for me, I like it. I mean, I do. We've seen Yadier Del Valle on Contender Series, and we've also seen him against Connor Matthews. And he's good, but I have so much more conviction around Isaac Dulgarian, where this matchup against Del Valle should be one where he could go out there and get a nice win over a big prospect. So for me, on the feet, I don't think it's going to stay standing all that much. And then when they're on the ground, I feel like the likelihood is Dulgarian will be on top and Del Valle will be underneath him. So I'm going to go with Dulgarian here at 9,100. Del Valle, for as far as a prospect moving forward, I think he's good. I just think this is a very, very difficult matchup and one that is nothing like his entire career to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a big Dulgarian guy. I think kind of knowing some of the inside things that he had to deal with when he got in the UFC and the price tag at 2,100. And when I did my sheet, I did not have any prop bets on this one, so that's something I'll be looking at as we do go forward. Next up, we're going to move up to the welterweight division. Radtke taking on Daniel Radtke. Started 2-0 in the UFC, 1-2 in his last three, but you look at those losses against Carlos Carlos Prates and Mike Malott. Of course, he is the betting favorite in here. Priced at $8,700 DK, $17 on FanDuel. He is minus 165. Daniel made his UFC debut back in April, which was a doctor stoppage loss against Reese McKee. He was a betting favorite in that one. He was a minus 140 betting favorite. 8 of his 9 professional wins have come by TKO KO. He's priced at $7,500 DK, $13 on FanDuel, and he enters this fight as a slight betting underdog at plus 130, Pete.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup and one where I think this is going to be a shootout. I think Radtke and Frunza are going to go out there and get into an absolute war. Frunza on the Contender Series showcased that he can, get dropped and continue to fight and end up coming back and coming from behind and winning in round 2. And he put together a very, very nice finish. And then he ends up fighting Reese McKee, gets finished in the first round, gets dropped 3 times. So in 2 fights, Jason, he's been dropped 4 times. So that's a lot. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of knockdowns. That's a lot of wear and tear on your brain. But I'll tell you, this kid will keep fighting. He really will keep fighting until the doctor has to intervene. So credit to him for being able to come from behind and win in the past and almost keep himself in the fight against Reese McKee until the doctor had to intervene. But man, that's a lot of damage for just 1 round of fighting. I think that this is a nice stylistic matchup for Charles Radtke if Radtke's still motivated and interested in fighting. Radtke did just get finished by Mike Malott, and it was in brutal fashion. So hopefully Radtke doesn't come out here with no chinks in his confidence, because if his confidence is shattered at all, then this is where a live fighter in Daniel Frunza can come out there and give you a hard time, not get put away, and end up pushing the pace and making you question yourself, and then ends up winning. So this is one where I circled it and I said, yeah, I got to have this fight in almost all my lineups, because one way or another, Radtke's skills shine through, and the true guy that trains at Valley Flow Striking is evident from the get-go, and he hits Frunza with a big left hook and finishes him, or takes him down, or puts together just a complete performance. Or Radtke's confidence is shattered by being unable to finish Frunza, and Frunza comes from behind once again, as he did in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, and let's say he was able to push through in his Reese McKee fight, and is just a zombie. And he zombies through it all and gives Radtke a tough gut check, and Radtke just decides, you know what, I can't. And that's where Frunza could come through at 7,500. So one way or another, I'm expecting there to be a finish in this fight. And one way or another, I'm expecting high DFS productions. But what I will say is that Radtke's losses, I can't hold him against them. He's lost to Mike Malott. That was a brutal knockout. Yeah. And then his other loss was to Carlos Prates. And Carlos Prates is an absolute nightmare within the division. So
yeah.
what are we talking about here? Outside of that, I mean, he's the guy that knocked out Matthew Semelsberger. He finished Gilbert Urbina, and then he picked up a decision over Blood Diamond. So, I mean, his wins aren't all that great, but from what I've heard of Radtke in the training room, and he's a big training partner of Bilal Muhammad, he should be getting the rub from all his training partners. So he should be prepared enough to beat this guy Frunza. And if he's not, I think it's all about his confidence. So I'll be picking Radtke, but like I said, I don't have faith in Radtke just because of where's his head at after that knockout defeat. But yeah, I can't ignore Frunza at that price tag either. You need this fight, but the lean will be Charles Radtke.
By the way, is it just me, or does it seem like more and more fighters are making that move to Valley Flow?
It's my boy. Yeah, I mean that's. I trained with Mike when I was in New Mexico. I was 21 at the time, and I became friendly with him. And one of my good friends, which was Leonard Garcia's brother, Bobby, and Bobby and I became real tight, and that was his coach. So one way or another, it kind of led to me working with him a lot, and he's really created an excellent gym. And now you're talking about Bilal Muhammad, Juliana Pena, Ignacio Bahamondes, Yair Rodriguez, even with the split sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, my gosh, like all the high level kickboxers really want to go over there because the flow striking's fantastic.
And a lot of those fighters work with Izzy Martinez on the wrestling side of it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Izzy's still there, but at one point they like were in the same facility, but they may be within the same town, or they may be like a block or whatnot, or that's where the roots are. So it's kind of just like a perfect blend of like when they're in Chicago, that's where they're going.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure Izzy's still, because he's a part of Real American Freestyle. Next up, we got a matchup that came together a week ago, and it's a catchweight bout of 130-pound Allan Nascimento and Cody Durden. Of course, Rafael Esteban was the fighter initially scheduled to take on Allan Nascimento. In this spot, Nascimento priced at 9,100 DK, no line on FanDuel. He's a minus 260 betting favorite. Cody Durden stepping up here on a week's notice, priced at 7,100 DK, plus 210 on the betting lines. Durden calling himself the Kevin Holland of the flyweight division, willing to step up at any moment, any time. One of the things about Nascimento, he's won 3 straight after losing his UFC debut back in 2021 against Yadier Bekov, which is a split decision. But one of the notes I have on him outside of the amount of submission wins that he has, Pete, is he's been an inactive fighter in the UFC. Made his UFC debut in 2021. Only one fight in that calendar year. Only one fight in the calendar year 2022. Only one fight in the calendar year 2023. No fights in 2024. And this will now be his second fight of 2025. Cody Durden, a 50-50 fighter in the UFC, 6-6-1 in the UFC, 1-4 in his last 5 fights. 5 of his 6 UFC losses have come via stoppage. We all know what Cody Durden can do with the wrestling, but to me, I'm in that mindset right now of, and maybe it's because I've just lost too much money on Cody Durden at this point, is that it's take Allan Nascimento or pass on the fight.
Yeah, personally, I mean, credit to Cody for being willing to step in and fight anybody, but it has not been a good run lately. I mean, he's lost to Ochoa, Van, beat Matt Schnell, lost to Silva, lost to Bekov. So I mean, he's answering the call, but he's just not getting his hand raised. And granted, those are not easy fights at all, but still, you can only go so long without a W before, the UFC is like, okay, enough is enough. I mean, but like he's bailing the UFC out of matchups. And honestly, I think like it could lead to Cody Durden like developing over time. It could lead to him getting significantly better 3-4 years from now. Like he could actually reach his peak, in a couple years. But he needs to chill out with getting knocked out and chill out with getting hurt so much. This is a situation where typically Cody Durden, would go out there and lace up his wrestling shoes, landing 4.13 takedowns per 15 minutes with 47% accuracy, is about 8.78 takedowns attempted per fight. I don't think he's going to go that route with Allan Nascimento. I mean, you're playing with fire. You're really putting yourself in harm's way. And Allan Nascimento, if he is put on his back, he's going to throw up submissions like you wouldn't believe. But I think that Allan Nascimento will be the guy looking to attempt takedowns, back chase Cody Durden. Nascimento attempts 1.42 takedowns lands 1.42 takedowns per 15 minutes, 24% accuracy, translates to about 5.9 takedowns per 15 minutes. So all it takes is Nascimento getting on your back one time and it's a wrap. I mean, you saw what he did to Jafel Filio. You seen what he did to Hernandez and Jake Hadley. He did lose to Ilhan Bekov and Holly and Paiva way back in the day, but I mean, inactivity sometimes is like out of your hands, right? Like you don't know, maybe this guy's got some personal issues going on. Maybe he's struggling with money. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like it's not always, like it's not easy to stay active. So when people are super active, credit to them. I don't think that Durden's activity is going to help him in a matchup here against Nascimento personally. I think that, Cody Durden's a dog. But I think that the 9,100 Nascimento makes a ton of sense. He's been prepping for this fight. He's got the skills to hurt Cody on the feet, and he has the submission skills to finish Cody Durden by taking his back, by guillotining him, and just making him work. If this goes 15 minutes, Cody Durden's probably hoping it's just a kickboxing fight. Even in that, though, I just think he's going to get lit up by the better Muay Thai fighter here. So, yeah, give me Nascimento at 9,100.
Yeah, I like Nascimento in the spot as well. And the price tag, I'm not scared by the price tag of 9,100. I don't blame somebody if they want to go Cody Durden thinking, hey, he's going to put the jiu-jitsu guy on his back and top pressure. But right now, to me, is just really tough to trust Cody Durden in this spot. Next up, we got a light heavyweight matchup, Billy Elekana, who is the betting favorite here, minus 275, price at 8,900 DK, $20 on FanDuel. Taking on Kevin Christian, who's priced at 7,300 on DK, and $10 on FanDuel. Billy 1-1 in the UFC. Both those fights have come in this calendar year, coming off a decision win against Ibo Aslan. He has been the underdog in his previous UFC matchup. So when you look at Kevin on the other side, won on the Contender Series back in September of last year. This is his first fight since that one, so 14-month layoff there. He will have a 3-inch reach advantage. Also, will have a 4-inch height advantage in this one as he's 6'7". But one of the things when you was 6 out to you by Kevin, the inactivity, a nearly 5-year layoff from his prior fight in LFA in 2024, back to 2019 was his previous MMA matchup in terms of that one. Pete, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think that this fight could be a stinker. And the reason I think it could be a stinker is you look at the volume. Granted, small sample size for both of them. Billy Elekana, 2.34 significant strikes landed per minute compared to Christian's 0.75. Granted, that's one fight. It's like, what the hell are they doing? Takedowns landed per 15 minutes, 0.64 for Elekana, 0 for Christian. So, I mean, when you look at Kevin Christian, it's a small sample size. The fight was won in round 2 via triangle armbar at 4 minutes and 17 seconds. But, like, how do you go a whole round and you landed 7 strikes? 7 significant strikes. I just don't understand. And this is one where, like, Billy Elekana is a slow-paced guy outside of getting a very, very good position, advantageous position against Bogdan Guskov early in his short notice fight. He's one that takes his time and kind of works into a fight. Look at his fight against Ibo Aslan. I mean, he landed 35 significant strikes and won a decision. So, I mean, these guys seem like they're going to have a staring contest, I don't know, maybe have a conversation. I'm not sure all too much fighting is going to be going on. But when Christian does throw, he throws super, super wide, loopy, and I think that he telegraphs. And I think a simple level change and Elekana shooting a double or clinching with him could result in one takedown, whatever time that this occurs at, round 1, round 2, round 3, into chasing the back, getting his hooks into a rear naked choke. He had Guskov's back early in that short notice fight against Bogdan Guskov, and Guskov really just marches you down, and he forces your hand, if you will. So, Elekana had 3 minutes and 40 seconds of control time in round 1. I think Billy Elekana should do it pretty easily here. I mean, even if you go back and you look at his early career, he's fought some good notable names. It's just like at 8,900. If he doesn't do that, Jason, if he doesn't go the takedown route, this is going to be a 15-minute staring contest, slight low volume kickboxing match. I would much prefer Elekana. I need to look at ownership because Elekana, if he's at low ownership, he could honestly be a leverage spot just because of the low volume of people expecting him to go out there low volume again. And he changes levels, takes Christian down, and submits him in round 1 at 8,900. That's 90 something points, and that could be all we need come Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up to see if we do have ownership available for this one. Just kind of see where this fight is at here.
Yeah, I would love to know.
Get the browser to load here. Billy, he's under 30%. That's not too bad. The upper echelon of ownership here this week.
That's not bad, though.
I will tell you this, and this is my first time peeking at ownership. Nothing really jumps out to me.
No, same.
I mean, no big surprise of the main event ownership. I mean, you expected that. But God, I mean,
I think Cody Durden's high ownership, huh?
yeah, I think that's a little high.
That's probably the first thing that I notice.
Phil Rowe,
I could see that though. I mean, like,
I get it. But what always concerns me, and we'll talk about those Phil Rowe, is just, you're really counting on a third round stoppage probably.
yeah.
I
mean, I got a name that I think is low, even though I like his opponent a lot.
Who's that?
Yadier Del Valle. I'm a big Dulgarian guy, but I just think that given his skill set is too low.
No, I completely get that. Let's move over. Next up, we got a bantamweight matchup. You got Timmy taking on Lee here. Cuamba started 0-2 in the UFC. He's making his UFC bantamweight debut in this matchup. He is coming off a first-round victory back in April against Roberto Romero, which was a second-round TKO. He enters here as a slight betting favorite, -120, priced at $8,500 DK, $15 on FanDuel. We look at Lee. He's priced at $7,700 DK, $14 on FanDuel, +100 on the betting lines. Lee's won 5 straight, 2 in the road to the UFC, 3 in the UFC. He's coming off a second-round TKO in April against Romero's. When you look at the strikes landed per minute, 3.12 for Timmy. Lee's at 4.92. But, man, Pete, the strikes absorbed for Timmy here, 4.30.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely inflated, and mainly it's inflated because of, the tough schedule. I mean, Mateo Vogel, the Balaji Oki, Lucas Almeida. I mean, all 3 of those guys are better strikers than ChangHo Lee. And it's one where, like, Timmy Cuamba took these hard fights. He had some solid performances, but now he's looking to drop down weight class, which I think that this prediction is all weight, way independent. The weigh-ins did they happen already?
Yeah, everyone made weight.
Okay. I need to go look and see how he looked, because I mean, I like Timmy Cuamba in this matchup just because I think that he's so much better of a striker than ChangHo Lee. Even though I think ChangHo Lee is a dangerous guy, I think that Timmy can actually be a force within this division because he's skilled everywhere. So, like, I mean, the takedown output is ridiculous for both fighters. I mean, Timmy Cuamba's takedown output, his landed takedowns is 1.11 with 26%, is 4.26 attempted per 15 minutes. ChangHo Lee is 3.27 landed, 0.33 accuracy, is 9.9 attempted. I don't know if ChangHo Lee is going to be able to land takedowns against Timmy Cuamba. I think Cuamba's wrestling is really, really slept on, truthfully. And I think that his just overall skill set is cleaner. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I think that ChangHo Lee looked really good, beating up Cortavius Romeus. That was a brutal finish. He beat Zhao Long, but outside of that, that was a split decision. I just don't. He's 4-0 talking about road to UFC and UFC. I just don't know if I buy it. I think I buy more of Timmy Cuamba going to a split decision with Balaji Oki, beating Mateo Vogel on the Contender Series, losing a competitive decision to Lucas Almeida, knocking out Roberto Romero in round 2. I just think I have a little bit more faith and stock in those. And I don't know, man. I like Timmy Cuamba. I think I'm gonna take a stab on Timmy Cuamba here at a newer weight class. And hopefully he's not feeling the effects of a bad weight cut or anything, because I think skill for skill, it's pretty competitive. And one where the odds in the salaries don't really match. I mean, the odds are essentially at a pick'em, and Cuamba is priced a little bit more than a pick'em at 8,500. So a lot of money has come in on ChangHo Lee. considering where the salaries were. But I think I'm still gonna, stick with Timmy Cuamba to pick up a decision victory here over ChangHo Lee.
I would agree with you about him being the better striker in this matchup. To me, where I'm looking at this is a grappling aspect. And what does he look like at 35? We don't know. And I do wonder if Lee can get this one to the ground of maybe just being able to rack up some points for us. That's why I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go with Lee in this one. I think the grappling outweighs the striking in this one, but I would fully agree with you. I think Timmy's a better striker in this one. Next up, we got a middleweight matchup. You got Donte Johnson making his UFC debut against Sedriques Dumas. Of course, Dumas, we saw him 50 days ago, a brutal groin shot where he was unable to return, and he took this fight on 3 weeks' notice as Johnson was initially scheduled to take on Nick Klein in this matchup. Donte Johnson, a minus 375 betting favorite. Price at $9,200 DK, $22 on FanDuel. Dumas, price at $7,000 on DK, $9 on FanDuel. He's a plus 275 betting underdog. Of course, Johnson won on the Contender Series earlier this year, back in August, in a heavyweight matchup, winning in 64 seconds, making that drop all the way down to 185 pounds. Has not made it out of the first round as a professional fighter. Dumas on the other side, 3-3, won no contest in the UFC. All of his wins have come by decision. All of his losses in the UFC have come via stoppage. And Pete, my biggest question in this one is, Johnson moving down to 85, which I think is the weight class he needs to be at, most likely. But also, it's the concern of, he might very well go out there and just steamroll Dumas in one round. But what happens if this fight gets to the second round?
Yeah, right. I mean, like, there's some situations where, and some concerns where, we don't know what Johnson in round 2, round 3 in the UFC looks like. And hell, we haven't even seen him in the UFC yet. So a lot of times these guys from the Contender Series, they get opportunities in the UFC, and the bright lights, it's different. I do think that, coming from the Contender Series to the UFC, it's a nice segue into the UFC. So it kind of gets them acclimated, but it's still not the real thing. And the pressure's on. And then you're going up against the guy in Sedriques Dumas, who, I don't think is any good. But Sedriques Dumas, from the Contender Series, he got a win, and then he's had 7 fights in the UFC, and a lot of poor performances throughout that. But he is the same guy that beat Cody Brundage. He is the same guy that beat Abu Azaitar. He is the same guy that beat Dennis Tululin. So he's not an absolute, he's not a can by any means. I don't think he's good. Everybody talks about his outside the cage issues, which could be distractions and could, show more about your character than your true skill. But I think that Sedriques Dumas can make things interesting in the grappling. And I think that, his Muay Thai is okay. His long range, his jab, his cross is good. His kicks are very sneaky as well. I think that his Muay Thai is a little underrated. But his defense, he gets hit a lot. And, I remember him on the Contender Series. I was like, wow, this kid's got such a disgusting guillotine choke. I haven't really seen him go to his grappling. He's landed 1 takedown against Abu Azaitar, and then he landed 3 against Dennis Tululin, but Dennis Tululin took him down 3 times. So, he gets a guillotine finish on the Contender Series. I'm over here thinking that this kid's got just, really aggressive striking and nasty chokes, and I don't know. He never really went to it again. So, I don't know. This is the same kid that got guillotined by Josh Fremd. So, I don't know. I think that the UFC might be done with Sedriques Dumas. I think that they're trying to hand him his walking papers, giving him a guy that just was a heavyweight at 210 pounds, now cutting down to middleweight. So I think that Donte Johnson, from everything I saw, hard combinations. And when we've seen Sedriques Dumas get hit in the past with an uppercut from Rasultan Ruziboyev, and Nursultan really crumpled him there. We've seen him crumple against Mihailo Shaychuk. But like I said, those are legitimate names. So is Donte Johnson legitimate or not? I'm not too sure. but I know that I'm not the highest on Sedriques Dumas. So the odds seem to make sense at 9,200 as a minus 355 favorite. But there are always concerns about debuting fighters. But I'll pick Johnson here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Johnson's the right call here. And, you know, I was having a conversation with a buddy last night, and we were talking about Dumas. And it's just kind of like, how is he still in the UFC with all of his, I think you said it great, issues away from the octagon?
Yeah.
All you got to do is Google it, and you know exactly what we're talking about. You know, and the fact of returning this quickly after what appeared to be a very bad groin shot kind of makes you wonder here, maybe in a situation where he was kind of told, hey, you want to get another fight, this is a fight that you got to take here. Next up, we have got a women's bantamweight matchup as Ketlen Vieira taking on Norma Dumont. Vieira is the underdog here. She's priced at 7,600 DK, $12 on FanDuel, plus 145 betting underdog. Dumont priced at 8,600 DK, $15 on FanDuel. She's a minus 180 betting favorite. Ketlen Vieira has gone the distance in 8 straight fights, and 11 of her 13 UFC fights have gone the distance. She's 4-2 in her last 6 matchups. Dumont 8-2 in the UFC. She's gone the distance in 9 of her 10 UFC fights. She's had 14 pro fights. 11 have gone the distance. This is her first fight in 14 months, which was a decision win against Irene Aldana. Am I crazy to say, do I think there's some value on Ketlen Vieira because of the price point, Pete?
I think the same thing. And guess what? I'm a Norma Dumont guy. I mean, Norma Dumont is beautiful. I think that she's very skilled. I think that she is definitely the better striker of the two. I just see these odds and I just think it's wide. I just think it's a little wide. I mean, I figured like minus 130, minus 140, okay, but like minus 180, I don't know. I don't have all that conviction because I do know that Ketlen Vieira, we've seen her beat Macy Chasson, Penny Kianzad, Holly Holm. She's very strong. She attempts similar takedowns per 15 minutes. 1.28 is what she lands per 15 minutes. 43% accuracy is about 2.97 takedowns attempted. So one around. But I will tell you what she is she's a pretty good staller too. So you got to be careful about these stallers that can really just pin you against the cage. And that's kind of like how I can see her winning, right? Like, it's like a Yana Santos type of fighter where it's just like pins you against the cage, clinch fight you a little bit. She can get a takedown great. Her boxing underwhelming, but she does throw a decent amount, not the best accuracy, but sometimes activity influences judges. I mean, the significant strikes landed per minute for Norma Dumont sits at 3.86, so better significant strikes landed than Ketlen Vieira at 2.84. But because of the accuracy, I mean, they're essentially the same. 7.7 for Norma Dumont in the attempted, 6.9 for Ketlen Vieira in the attempted. So there's really no, it's not a big gap between the two. The only big thing is the striking defense. Norma Dumont's striking defense sits at 65%, Jason, which is really good. So far of the sheet that I have filled out, it's the best on the slate compared to Ketlen Vieira's 51% striking defense. But sometimes that doesn't even matter, right? Like in the judges' eyes, because if somebody's been attempting more takedowns or been a little bit more active and kind of pin you against the cage, they can't tell what's absolutely a flush strike if it's glancing off the glove. So, I think that I'm still picking my girl Norma Dumont because I think that she can matador her way to a victory here. Good striking. She can even get some takedowns if she wants, but I don't see that happening against Ketlen Vieira. Vieira's game is to suffocate you, punch into clinch, into wrestle. I just don't like the odds. I got to tell you, I love the striking defense. When I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, that's really good, 65%. But I just think like how many times we see in women's MMA the odds shouldn't be this wide. So the value is on Vieira, but I'm picking Norma Dumont.
Yeah, to me, the value, but also like it's one of these things from a DFS perspective of like what's the fantasy score upside?
Yeah. On
That
either one
that
of them, right?
yeah, I mean either side of that what like to me, if I'm going to roster either one of these fighters, I think it's an ownership play and trying to get leverage on the field just because of where they could be in that aspect. Next up, we have got another female matchup. This will be in the strawweight division. You got Elise Ardelean taking on Montserrat Ruiz. Ardelean, the highest price fighter on this card at 9,300 on DK, $23 on FanDuel. It minus 425 betting favorite. Ruiz priced at 6,900 on DK, $8 on FanDuel. She is priced at plus 300. And Pete, one of the, I put together this document of just notes on all these fighters. And so under Ardelean, I know 1, 2 in the UFC, all of her fights have gone the distance. And my next line is low level UFC women's MMA, and she's a minus 475 betting favorite. I mean, look, we know about Ruiz, one trick pony. I mean, that may be the right way to describe her. First fight in 2 years. She's 1-3 in the UFC. All of her UFC losses have come by TKO KO. And that's why, God, call me. I need you to talk me out of this, Pete. I really need you to talk me out of this. I'm over here looking at these prop bets. Elise Ardelean, plus 275 inside the distance, plus 75 TKO KO. Can you talk me out of making this bet, please? Because I feel
don't know if
I
can. I actually think that I might influence it. And now listen to me. I didn't think I would be able to say this, but listen to the difference in these stats. The disparity is ridiculous, okay? Elise Ardelean, 6.73 significant strikes landed per minute compared to Ruiz, 0.79.
It's always cheap.
It's ridiculous. Okay. 44% accuracy for Ardelean, Ruiz 0.27. So in English, the strikes attempted for Ardelean sits at 15.29 per minute and 2.9 for Ruiz. 15-3, if you want to call it that. Okay. Opponent striking defense for Ruiz sits at 37%. Ruiz is 37% striking defense, whereas Ardelean's is at 57%. Terrible. 37% for Ruiz is horrible. Okay, now we go over to the takedowns because Ruiz is, she's a wrestling champ and she's really, really good, but she has a headlock takedown that she may hit you with it once, maybe twice. If it happens to you, I still don't even think she finishes you. So it's like, well, okay, she took me down with a headlock. I have to make sure that she does not isolate my arm so she doesn't hit me with any funky submissions from the scarf hold position. I have to make sure she doesn't ground and pound me into a finish. And next time she does that, I am just going to sag my weight and I am going to make sure that I am bending my legs and I am going to get heavy or I'm going to hug her hips, hip in, and not get thrown. The takedowns landed per 15 minutes for Ruiz. It's at 2.05 with 83% takedown accuracy. So it's about 2.5 she's attempting, whereas Ardelean's at 1 with 50% accuracy. So 2 attempted. So essentially the same. And Ruiz's takedown defense is terrible, 33%. So I do see a world where Ardelean can get her down however she wants. Eduarda Mora took her down at will. And she had 3 takedowns of 3 attempts, almost 6 minutes of control time. Jacqueline Amarine beat the hell out of her. I got to tell you, I never thought I'd say this, but Ardelean looks like she should go out there and beat the hell out of this girl. I mean, 37% striking defense. Ruiz is going to throw 0.7. She's going to land 0.7 significant strikes per minute. She's going to throw 3 per minute compared to 15. This could be one-way traffic, Jason. This could be, the very few times we see a chalky women's MMA fighter break the slate. I might just really go in and just do it because Ardelean actually surprised me in her previous fight where she did throw a ton of strikes. She landed 154 against Rayane dos Santos, had a takedown as well. And what did she score? She scored 103 against Rayane dos Santos, who I think is 2 or 3 times the fighter of Ruiz. So, I mean, I might just – I haven't even looked at the ownership for her, but I might do it. So I don't think I helped you at all. If anything, I think I influenced you.
Look, and it is like, here's what I'd really love to know. How many fighters in UFC history have had at least 3 fights in the organization and have landed less than 1 strike per minute? It can't.
You're in the wrong sport.
Do I need more than 1 hand?
You are in the wrong sport. Go do professional grappling. I don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, she has a skill set that worked in women's MMA in 2012.
Yeah, the Ronda Rousey, right?
Yeah, I mean, where you can be one-dimensional. I mean, that's why, like, I'm sitting here going, man, like, do I think Ardelean's this great talent? No, I do not. To me, it's low-level women's MMA, and you look at some of the talent she's fought prior to UFC, it just was not high competition. But, like, I'm sitting here going, God damn, I'm not a inside the distance better on women's MMA, but this probably is the week in terms of this fight because Ardelean should win via finish. She should win via finish. I mean, the question is 1v1 on DraftKings. Would you rather pay $9,300 for Ardelean or $9,200 for Deontay Johnson?
I'd probably go Ardelean, honestly. I probably would, just because I don't fully know what Johnson's about.
Yeah, I know that it's, and I feel like that's going to be a question that a lot of people are going to be asking themselves about this card. Next up, we got 2 more fights there left before we get into our straight up fight picks. We got Rowe versus Co. The slight betting, a little bit more of a betting fair here, minus 190, plus 150 for Rowe, who's 7,400 DK, $11 on FanDuel. Co. He's priced at 800 on DK and $19 on FanDuel. Of course, Phil Rowe, the one stat you're always going to bring up when it comes to him, pretty much every fight, is that reach advantage. He'll have a 9-inch reach advantage in this one. He is coming off a win back in June where he defeated Lusa as a plus 125 betting underdog that snapped a 2-fight losing streak. He's 4-3 in the UFC. All of his wins in the UFC have come by TKO KO. All of his losses have come via decision. Co won his UFC debut back in June against Oban Elliott, where he was a plus 360 betting underdog. 6 wins via TKO KO and 6 wins via decision, Pete.
Yeah, I kind of talked about it earlier in the show. I mean, there aren't too many fighters on this card that have really impressed me as much as Seok-Young Ko. He really impressed me against Oban Elliott. So I can't leave that performance and not carry over my excitement into this matchup, even if he's going up against my guy in Phil Rowe, who has won me a lot of money and has been a guy that I have really touted because my striking coach from New Mexico, Crew Dom, is his striking coach. So, like, I'm always going to root for Phil Rowe. I think that this is a very difficult matchup and probably one where they just knew that Phil will probably say yes to the fight when everybody else is saying, hell no, I'm not fighting Seok-Young Ko after watching what he did to Oban Elliott. I mean, and that's why Oban Elliott accepted that fight too, because, like, I don't think these guys understand how good Seok-Young Ko is. And if it was just a one-time performance, it's one of the best one-time performances I've seen in a while. His takedowns landed per 15 minutes sits at 4 with 53% accuracy, translates to 7.5 takedowns attempted per 15 minutes. It's ridiculous. Phil Rowe's 56% takedown defense means that Seok-Young Ko can get 3.3 at least in a 15-minute fight. Not only that, but Seok-Young Ko's striking is a very underrated part of his game where it wasn't really on display against Oban Elliott, but he has massive, massive power. His power is crazy, and it's one where I think that, the Korean Tyson could land some punches or land a combination that hurts Phil Rowe. We've seen Phil Rowe hurt numerous times. He was hurt and was behind in his most recent fight against Ange Lusa. Prior to that, lost to Jake Matthews. Prior to that, lost to Neil Magny. But, like, Ange Lusa knocked him down, and Ange Lusa was putting it on Phil Rowe, and Phil Rowe was able to kind of come from behind. And as Ange Lusa tired, Phil Rowe was just kind of found his next gear and was able to get acclimated and get into the fight and come up with the win. I don't know, man. I can't pick against Seok-Young Ko after watching that fight against Oban Elliott. I'm sorry. I want Phil Rowe to win. I'll root for him because he's, my striking coach's, my former striking coach's fighter. But I just don't know if this is a good matchup for him, because guess what? If ChangHo doesn't knock him out, he's going to take him down and he's going to be on top of him. And guess what? Phil Rowe is very comfortable off of this back, and he's comfortable staying there too because he's throwing up submissions. He's looking to get fancy with his attempts. If he does get back to his feet, we saw Obanelli get back to his feet, and ChangHo took him back down again. The combination of judo and wrestling is next level. This kid ChangHo, if he goes out there and puts on another strong performance against Phil Rowe, I legitimately think that this kid will be ranked. Like, I legitimately think that this kid is that good if he beats Phil Rowe in a similar fashion to how he beat Oban Elliott. So with that being said, I'm going ChangHo until he proves me wrong. So give me Ko here at 8,800.
I love one of the things you mentioned there about Phil Rowe is he just seems way too comfortable on his back. We've seen it a couple times in UFC where it's just like, man, you can't. This isn't 2006 where you can win a fight off the back. But the one thing I always say is if you are a co-backer, if this thing does hit round 3, that seems to be the round when Phil Rowe really shines. So that's something to pay attention there. Their opening fight of the night is a women's strawweight matchup against Talita Alencar and Irene Carnelossi. Alencar priced at $9,000 on DK, $20 on FanDuel, minus 220 betting favorite. Carnelossi priced at $7,200 DK, $10 on FanDuel. She's a plus 175 underdog here. Alencar is 2-1 in the UFC. All of her UFC fights have gone the distance, coming off a win against Vanessa Demopoulos. She started her career with 3 submission wins in Titan FC. The reason I mention that is at that time, Titan FC kind of very one-sided matchups, by the way. I'm just going to, not trying to throw shade, but a lot of, very A-side, B-side type fights. And she's gone decisions since those matchups. Carnelossi, 3-2 in the UFC. This is her first fight in 17 months. Only her third fight since 2022, Pete.
Yeah, I tell you what, man. On paper, I don't blame you for saying, how the hell can you trust Carnelossi? Because the big glaring hole I see is the 14% takedown defense for Carnelossi. And it's just like, yeah, I get it, Jason. I understand. But, I think like you can go and you can like pick out like, why is it that bad? Well, Liang Na, she's a round 1 hero. She takes down everybody. She's just one of the best round 1 fighters out there, and then she gasses. So she took down Carnelossi 3 times in 1 round. And then you had Lupi Godinez go out there and put on a wrestling clinic against Ariana Carnelossi. That's one where I watched that fight and I thought Lupi was going to be championship material. Remember that? Like, we all watched that and we're like, wow, Lupi is just like boxing with her, taking her down, dumping her on her head. Like, that's the best Lupi Godinez has ever looked because she combined the arts. She took her down 8 of 8 times. So, like, that's a very, very good wrestler. And Piera Rodriguez is a very good wrestler as well. So everybody that's taken down Ariana Carnelossi has been a good wrestler. Liang Na, Lupi Godinez, Piera Rodriguez. And I will tell you, I don't think Talita Alencar is a good wrestler. She's a good grappler. She's a jiu-jitsu practitioner. One where if she gets the fight down, she can have tremendous success and look for a finish because she has the skills to remain in top position. She has the skills to hunt for submissions. But like, her takedown accuracy is ass. Her takedown accuracy is 20%. So it's not like she's an efficient grappler. She may only need 1 takedown, Jason. That's the problem, right? So you got a 20% takedown accuracy in Talita Alencar going up against a 14% takedown defensive rating in Carnelossi, which is predominantly because of the wrestler she's fought in Godinez, in Piera Rodriguez, in Liang Na. So it's hard for me to say because when I look at the two, the more physically imposing fighter is clearly Ariana Carnelossi. One where I look, I'm like, oof, that girl is in excellent shape. And she's got muscles and she looks like to be the much more physical and physically imposing fighter. And, let's say like Talita Alencar shoots in a takedown and realizes, wow, Carnelossi's strong. So she's going to pull guard. How many times you see jiu-jitsu practitioners pull guard? And it's like, yeah, that's annoying. I don't want my fighter pulling guard, being on bottom, because even a fighter at Carnelossi at 7,200 as a plus 185 underdog, she can pull off an upset just from being in top position, staying safe, ground and pounding a little bit. Or if she does get taken down, she works back to her feet and then she lands the only damaging strikes because she's 100% going to be the better striker in this matchup. 2.87 significant strikes landed per minute compared to 2.62 for Alencar. Yeah, I mean, Carnelossi should out Muay Thai, out kickbox Delija Alencar for as long as it stays standing. I don't have enough conviction that, Carnelossi is going to keep this fight upright for me to like straight up pick her. This is one where I think that the odds are wide considering, how bad Carnelossi has looked. But like I said, I think it's because of who she's fought. But at the end of the day, it's 20% takedown accuracy going up against 14% takedown defense. So something's got to give. And I just find it a little too wide and a little bit too much recency bias. And I think it's mainly because Delija Alencar, like she beat Vanessa Demopoulos. Demopoulos is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, not a wrestler. Demopoulos will accept on being on her back, throwing up arm bars. So this is one where I think the sprawl and brawl of Carnelossi with the factor of being away from the cage could have led to development. And at the end of the day, she still has 3 years younger than Delija Alencar. So maybe there's some room for development. I will still lean towards Delija Alencar with all that being said, because it may be one takedown, Jason, and it's a wrap. Rear naked choke, arm triangle, whatever. But for DFS, I think that Carnelossi, let me look at I don't even remember, but I would probably get to more exposure than what she's getting as far as ownership wise.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the price tag, 7,200, but to me, it's just about the lack of the ability to keep the fight on the feet. Alencar is going to be the pick for me in this matchup. Get into some straight up fight picks, or get into listener questions. Main event, I will go Steve Garcia as a slight lean.
Yeah, it's same with me, man. I'm having a hard time with it, but yeah, I'm gonna go Steve Garcia.
The co-main, give me Delija.
Yeah, give me Delija.
Then this next one, I keep going back and forth. I'm gonna go Gorimbo because of being the younger fighter.
Okay, I'm gonna go Jeremiah Wells. I just don't prove me wrong, Gorimbo.
Yeah, I'll go Dulgarian.
Radtke.
Nascimento. I'll go Billy.
Yeah, Billy Elekana.
Give me Lee as my first underdog.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Timmy Cuamba.
Give me Johnson.
I'm gonna go Johnson as well.
Give me underdog number 2 in Ketlen Vieira.
Ooh.
Low output, not a great score for DFS. Probably, maybe if you go crazy, maybe this is your make a bet on the winner via split decision.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% think that this fight's going to be a decision fight. So I'm going to go Dumont, but for betting, that's what I'll do.
Give me Elise.
Yeah, big time. Ardelean.
Co.
And
I'll go Alencar.
Yeah, I'll lean towards Alencar.
Samuel, appreciate your super chats a little earlier on the show. As always, Samuel, appreciate those super chats when they come in. He goes, highest leverage plays in each salary tier and rank them. Samuel, appreciate the super chat there. So you talk about the 9,000 range. And I need to pull up ownership here. 9,000 range. God, man. It's one of these things, Pete, where I'm like, who do I really have a lot of faith in? That is where I really am kind of in this. Okay, Ardelean should win via stoppage based on who the opponent is, and she should, but it's women's MMA, and it's low-level women's MMA. Johnson, we don't know what he looks like in the. I mean, obviously, it's not great competition, but that's something that sticks out there. Then you got Dulgarian, Nascimento, Alencar. If in terms of the highest leverage plays in the 9K range, there's not really a leverage play in the 9,000 range. It's probably Alencar would be the leverage spot. And probably getting away from Johnson Dulgarian. I mean, honestly, I think if you're looking, I'd probably go at least Ardelean just because of where her ownership is in relation to the other 9,000 range. And like, if I'm ranking the 9K range from a DFS perspective. God, I'm trying to think, who would I put number one?
So hard.
I can go different ways in this one. Like,
I think it's exactly how it is.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, right?
I just wonder, it should. I think I put
Maybe
Nascimento
and Allan Carr.
I think I put Nascimento ahead of Dulgarian.
Ooh.
Like Johnson's one of those things, like, because of what he's done on the regional scene, quick win finish bonus is right in the equation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking fantasy score upside with Nascimento, and just what we've seen for Cody Durden. I feel like Ardelean he's probably the safest pick in this range, but you don't feel great about it.
Let me go like this. 7.3, 7.9. Okay, well, Allan Carr's pace rating is a 7.3. Ardelean's pace rating is a 6.7. Johnson's pace rating is a 7.92. Dulgarian's pace rating, wow, it's not even good. It's 5.41. And then Nascimento, it's 3.73. So, I mean, according to the pace rating, really, really likes Allan Carr and Johnson.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Johnson that concerns, trains at a small gym in Wisconsin. He's not at one of the more known gyms in Wisconsin. And, I mean, look, yeah, his first 4 fights, which is very expected, is against very low-level competition. But remember, this is a guy who made his pro debut in August of 2024. I mean, it's been a quick rise to get where he's at. And I'll say this and this is about all Contender Series fighters. We really don't know how good they are.
No.
And how many, I mean, I was having a conversation with the manager the other day about it. And his point to me was, he's like, look, like, sometimes guys just get to the UFC too quick. And it wasn't until he gets their second stint that you really see the development of that. That's just kind of concern with me. So, but when we look in the 8,000 range, so you got from Elekana to Delija, the lower end of this 8,000 range to me, Pete, what sticks out to you? From Garcia, Cortes-Acosta, and Delija, obviously Garcia is getting a ton of ownership. Cortes-Acosta really kind of relatively low ownership on the co-main event when you think about it, especially when you look at the price tag of those two guys. I mean, I think when you look at leverage spots, it's them and Norma is the other one that would be the leverage spot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, surprisingly, heavyweights in a co-main event are not attracting a ton of ownership as much as I thought that they would. And I think it's mainly due to the style of the fight, right? Like Waldo lulls you into a slower pace fight. And I think maybe people just don't understand that Delija can do the same thing. Delija can wrestle. And I like what I'm seeing. I mean, like, the Delija ownership makes sense. I just think in general, I thought that would be a little bit heavier of an ownership play compared to the rest of the card, because it's like, where's everybody going instead of that,
And I'll say this, when I look at this 8,000 range, and I'm thinking, and Casino mentioned about ranking them.
Oh, I see where they're going. They're going to freaking Themba Gorimbo.
I mean, look, here's the thing I would say is, I think my ownership on Gorimbo would be lower than the field of what projections are. Maybe he's the number one option here in the 8,000 range.
I like him. I do.
I mean, I get why, some people may look at Garcia, but I think you just got to understand where the ownership is going to be in there. What does Charles Radtke look like after the last fight? You talked about this earlier in the show, kind of where he is at there. Billy, God, I don't feel great about the price tag. That's kind of the concern with me in terms of that one.
What's his ownership? Yeah. Bro, one takedown, man. I mean, look, go watch that Bogdan Guskov fight. It's all, and he could be as low volume as he is. He's patient. Christian goes out there, nervous energy, throws a big bomb, ducks it, takes him down, chokes him out. 95 points, just like that.
Yeah. In the 7,000 range, obviously everyone's going to love David Onama in this situation. You talked about Jeremiah Wells. The leverage is Ketlen Vieira, but
my God,
the fantasy to me, it's about the fantasy score upside, and I'm sitting there going, okay, like if I'm rostering her at 7,600, what's my goal? Is it
70?
I was thinking 75, 80 points. Is that my goal?
If you get 80, bro, you're doing jumping jacks. Yeah, like that's.
I mean, hell, what's the path to 75?
I don't even know.
You think about 30 points just for a win.
Yeah, she needs to.
Is the volume going to be there? Can she maybe get some points with takedowns? I mean, that's kind of the scary thing. It's kind of like what I mentioned earlier in the show. Like, are we going to have a fighter, particularly early on in the card, that gets deducted a point, and now we've got that fighter rostered, and now they're having to, fight their ass off for us to get that additional 30 points for the win.
Yeah. I hope it's not Alice Ardelean.
Oh, God. Do not put that in the universe. Come on, Pete.
Imagine.
Do not put that in the do not put that in the universe out there. This is interesting, and Samuel, I appreciate the super chat you have in here asking about possible rank by ceiling.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so in the 9,000 range, God, this is tough.
No, it's not. It's Johnson.
That was my initial thought. If I was going to rank him, Johnson, Ardelean, Nascimento, Dulgarian, Allan.
See, I think that Dulgarian ceiling's a little higher than you think because of the wrestling, because Del Valle likes to attempt guillotines a lot. Like Nascimento, his ceiling can be there going up against Cody Durden, but like Durden's a good wrestler too. So like maybe it could just be one back take and it's over. Whereas like the repeated takedowns, the takedown city of Dulgarian, how he slammed Christian Rodriguez like 10 times. I honestly think that he has the tremendous upside. So for me, it's Johnson, Ardelean, Dulgarian for the top three.
Looking at the 8,000 range in terms of fantasy score upside.
Yeah. I like doing the top three. The top three is nice.
Yeah. I mean, the fact Garcia having 5 rounds, I would kind of feel like Onama would be higher for me just because of the potential takedown aspect, but he's in the 7,000 range. You mentioned about Billy. I think Co's got to be right up there. Delija could be right up there too. Those might be my top 3 in this range.
All right. So for upside for me, I will go Seokyeon Ko number 1. Steve Garcia number 2, even if you don't like him in the matchup specifically. And then you know who I will say for 3, just for takedowns? Themba Gorimbo.
I get you there. 7,000 range. I think upside David Onama is probably number 1 for me.
Agreed.
Wells is probably number 2 in this range.
Yeah, agreed.
Just because of, if he can go in that. Then after that,
I know where you're going to go, and I know where I'm going to go.
Where do you think I'm going to go?
You're going to go ChangHo Lee because of takedowns. And I'm going to say Daniel Frunza because of a come from behind victory over Charles Radtke.
Yeah, I get you on top of that one. I'll get a couple quick questions in here. Value plays underneath AK and a core 3 on DraftKings. Value plays underneath. See, okay, technically, you would say David Onama value play is 7,900, but he's going to be highly owned. I think you probably got to look at Wells, Lee. God, do you say Ariana Carlosa? God, do you say that's the value? She keeps on the feet?
That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, she could. You got to take you got to put like the context to every stat too, and that's the context that I was thinking is like, if like Vanessa Demopoulos took her down 7 times, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, like Demopoulos can wrestle, but she's not a wrestler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that Carnelossi might be completely slept on.
Core 3 on DraftKings. I think for me, it starts with either Garcia or Nama. That's where it starts. One or the other.
Okay. Yep. Agreed.
After that, I'm looking in the 9,000 range.
Who are you going
Probably,
with?
God. I'm really debating between Johnson and Dulgarian.
I think it's they're both great options, right? If you pick Ardelean, right, the only worry is that Little Miss Ruiz, is that her name? Yeah, Ruiz.
Yeah.
She gets a headlock takedown and controls her for a whole round.
Look,
so now you have a 9,300 fighter with only 10 minutes to get a ton of points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, you have to imagine that she has been doing that defense the entire game.
I don't know, dude. It don't matter. Can you stop it?
A third one for me. Probably Co or Delija, one of the two.
I'm big on Co this weekend, so
yeah.
I like Co a lot.
Sam with his usual questions, best top plays. Sam, I for me, I look at it the main event. Both those really stick out to me. I really like Allan Nascimento this week. That'd be another one to me. Donte Johnson be up there just because who he's fighting. That's what it'd be for me.
Yeah.
Live dogs. I think we've kind of gone over a lot of these. I think you look at Onama. You mentioned about Jeremiah Wells. I mentioned about Lee. Ketlen Vieira, I think is an interesting dog at plus 145. It's a fight I don't love for DFS though. Best decision odds fighters. Look, the female matchups, particularly Ketlen Vieira and Norma Dumont. I would be shocked if that doesn't go 15 minutes. I would be shocked.
I would be extremely shocked too.
Allan Carlosa, I think is probably another one that probably goes a distance as well.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, the Dumont and Vieira fight, I have a very, very strong opinion that it goes 15 minutes.
Yeah. Top pump place. How about Yadier?
Yeah.
Yeah, that to me would be it though. Favorite parlays. God, I hate parlaying props. I might start with Ardelean inside the distance at plus 275.
I don't like parlaying props.
I don't either. But I don't want to put her to prop at minus 425.
Now, why would you parlay a prop when you can parlay a spread? Because it kind of covers you in a dominant win, plus a finish.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Ardelean minus 3.5, that's minus 120, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So if she 30-27s her, you're okay.
I'm almost now kind of tempted because I'm going to look this up. What is Ardelean to win round 2?
Ardelean round 2 plus 800. Ardelean round 3 plus 1,000.
I kind of feel like she wins either the first or second round. That's my gut.
Okay.
Ardelean wins one round 2 plus 375. Yeah. I will start just play plus 275. Give myself that third round just in case. Let's go next question here. Top captain MVP. I'm always gonna be looking for grapplers. So people Lee, maybe Billy, Nascimento.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are probably the ones that stick out to me. Jason and Pete special. For me, it's the first fight of the night. Don't really love it for DFS just because of Lolo and May. Pizza, for you, that's the co-main event.
I like Delija. I don't think people know how good this guy is.
Yeah, no.
I like Delija.
Takedown King and Queen.
I have.
Queen should be Allan if she goes that route.
Takedowns landed. The highest projected takedowns landed in a 15-minute fight based on UFC stats only. Allan 10.75 in a 15-minute fight, Jason. That is ridiculous. Yeah. Next one, guess what? Cody Durden, because Nascimento's takedown defense sits at 30%. Interesting.
Road to Match Series 6.5.
Less. You got three women fights on the card. I mean, you do.
I'll agree with you less. I would go less on that one. Let's see here. Best leverage plays, we've kind of gone over that already. Best takedown, we've gone over that. Ranking 9K options, we've already gone over that. This one says, how do you feel about the over under 1.5 in the main? Give me the over. I like the plus money on the over. For some reason, I feel like that fight's going to go longer than people think.
What? In 20 lineups, how many of them are you avoiding the main event? Can you find 600 or 700 points without the main event?
In 20 lineups, I think I have at least 4 lineups with them not in it.
Okay. Good.
I just feel like you're going to have it. It would be relatively surprising me if that fight's
You'd have to have a couple.
Not optimal.
Yeah, a couple really low underdogs that come through.
Yeah,
a Carnelosi, a Phil Rowe, Ruiz, a Dumas.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Somebody low.
Yeah. But, of course, UFC Vegas 110 goes down tomorrow, lock time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you got any questions, you hit us up in the YouTube comments or over in the Discord channel. Of course, be sure to check out Pete's Patreon. The link to that is in the description below. Of course, coming up next week, you got UFC Vegas 110, Bomb Fiend versus Brown. Both Bomb Fiend brothers are on that card. Oof. I was looking at that card yesterday, Pete. Oof.
Hey. If we take down this card and we take down this contest, you think I care? You think I care who headlines what?
No, you don't.
You know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
No, you definitely do not. But as always, we appreciate everyone Tuesday for every episode of Fight HQ. Of course, be sure to check this out on the audio side on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, also the video versions on Spotify as well. So be sure to check that out. So we'll talk to you next week right here on the Fight HQ podcast.